Hello and welcome back to This Contains Garlic. You are here with your host Georgia Garlic
More garlic.
and we are back after we've had a little bit of time off
More
of the old
garlic.
podcast. Um, Mainly because work has been very busy and getting some time together in order to have a little bit of a chat has been quite limited. So yeah, the end of last year we just had quite a lot to navigate with new things, great things. And on that note, Happy New Year,
Happy
because
New Year's to everybody.
this is a good time to do the podcast because it's January 1st
Happy
and
New
we're being
Year's to
very
everybody.
productive. Don't want to make people jealous that, we're already up and at it, but we have already been to the gym and to Sainsbury's, bought 4 house plants, cleaned the house, do you know what I mean?
Started with good intentions.
It will probably end by the end of the
Yeah,
week. But no, I'm.
we've
It's
started with good
weirdly
intentions.
enough, I don't really tend to set resolutions. I kind of just think, oh, whatever. I actually think I live quite a nice lifestyle anyway. I don't think I need to amend anything too much. I think there's always goals that you kind of want to achieve,
Yeah,
but I've never really been one of those people with like, I don't know. I like I was saying
yeah,
to Mark, I was like, I just kind of like sail into it. Like I clearly like would say that I work very hard, but it's also one of those things where I just don't really sit back and sometimes
smell the roses.
smell the roses. Have you ever smelt any roses, Mark?
Smell the roses.
When?
Quite a few
Clearly,
times.
when you bought for somebody else, because I don't think
No.
you've ever bought me
Yeah, I have
roses.
actually.
Apart from that,
Quite a few
you would
times.
agree it was that awful
No.
Interflora box that you by mistake ordered in Cape Town. Do you remember that? And it was like 3 roses, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And a packet of like marshmallows that looked like they'd been
yeah,
expired in 1993. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? And even you said, "Oh, I thought it was going to be
yeah,
better than that."
yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah,
so apart from those roses, what other ones have you smelt
yeah.
exactly?
I do remember that. When we um used to do when we used to do manual labour at school. We used to go and prune the rose bush.
And you give them a sniff,
So
just like
then
you
you'd
wanted your English
stop nearby,
rose.
and you'd give them a
It
sniff.
was all there, good intentions and all.
Exactly.
I do believe slightly in
Good
manifest,
intentions,
manifestation.
manifestation,
Although I don't like
manifestation,
that word because I feel like
manifestation,
fest sounds like you've got like bugs,
manifest,
like an extreme amount, like
manifesting,
festering.
manifestation.
Yeah, it's not a good word that. But I do believe if you
Festering.
manifest good, but I also don't believe that because I think that
Some people would
some years
disagree
of
with
your
me.
life, like you really do succeed, and other years of life, you've just got to like practice quite a lot of patience, and you do go through some trials and tribulations and some shit things. I mean, last year was weird, I think, because it was very, very productive for us. I think we really did pave the fucking way, but
Yeah.
in a number of different
Mm.
ways, and I think I've got a lot more clarity on a huge amount of things, especially since
Way.
COVID. It sounds weird, but I think like it just changed so much in my attitude on things that yeah, I think last year was good, but also for like other personal reasons, it was quite shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I
Lots of
also
trials and tribulations.
but it wasn't necessarily like it was shit because I had to see people
Yeah.
go through stuff.
Lots
Do you
of
know what I mean?
trials
It
and
wasn't necessarily
tribulations.
shit for me. I'm not going to say, but like, so I guess it's one of those weird years
Yeah.
where you almost don't really want to celebrate good
No.
things because you just know that it's, I don't know, like other people are going through shit. I'm also very conscious of that. I'm not one to brag in it.
Cognizant of the
I
Sure.
know. I'm literally, God,
Understandable. That's
what a
very
great person I am.
cognizant of you.
Um, that being said, this
Very
podcast we wanted to
cognizant
just do is
of you.
one, a bit of a catch up. What's going on? What's the 411?
Yeah.
Hopefully, you've missed my voice and Mark's. If you haven't,
Yeah.
then stop listening. But yeah, we just wanted to do a little bit of a funny that, like, sort of how to get sort of started in the new year. I think it's quite overwhelming, and I think there's one thing to say is nobody gets started on the 1st of January. Like, what a load of bullshit that is. Most people only get started, I think, in
No.
first Monday of
14th of
January.
January.
14th. Yeah, I think after like two working.
14th of January. Yeah. Yeah. You've kind of worked your way back into your routine, getting back into work and certain elements like that to make sure that you're getting that routine back into work.
Yeah, I mean,
And
like we've got clients
most
like
people
kind
have
of sort of
children
like
going back to school.
where I
Or,
work or do like a lot of work on a day-to-day basis is obviously actually at a hedge fund in London, and so like obviously people are off, time off. So like all of my clients. Yeah, markets are open, but like people, that is a universal time where people are
but
like,
the
no, no,
markets are
no,
open.
thanks. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's celebrating
I
something
guess
at this
they're
time.
just
Or
working
if they're
from
not
home.
celebrating it, but due to.
Yeah, but there was huge, a very big, large sell-off
Well,
during the Christmas
well, I
period.
think people
what-
always take
what
over, but
they
no, I
must
think a
be
lot of
working
people took
from home.
holiday because, as I'm saying to you, if you actually listen, well, I'm sure some people are fucking working, aren't
But then
they?
who's
Do you know what I mean?
managing the
Like,
ebbs
of
and
course, it's
flows?
like there's always going to be some people. I'm sure they're not looking.
Sure, the genius. Yeah, because everyone assumed that there was going to be a what they call a Santa's rally where we were going to see big flow of
Oh my,
positive.
we're sorry, but we're not
movement
talking about
with
sort of fucking trading on our podcast.
Greek
Like,
director.
no, let's not. Do you know what I mean? Because I'll show how much I don't know. I do really try and
get
learn
into
off of
it.
my clients because I'm quite fascinated
Let's
by
dive straight into
by all of that. But like, but I still don't. But it's like one of those things where when you speak to people about their jobs, and obviously like there's all these sort of like not slogans, like
Yeah, it is very
abbreviations, like.
What did you say the other day that I
Oh
thought
fuck!
was
Now I've forgotten it.
hilarious?
Bucks.
The
So like one of my
slang for
clients was like to
the-
me, "Oh yeah, like $10," and I was like, "What? Like £10?" She was like, "No, 10 million." I was like, "Oh," she was like, "That's how we all say it. It's like bucks." And I thought, "Oh, of course, you couldn't just make out that you've got millions going on, more like trillions, billions, and all whatnot." But yeah, no, it's quite interesting. I do try to learn, but I mean, it's one of those things where people are like.
Yeah.
I don't know, like CFG MX to the YT, you know what I mean? If you merge to the equity merging to
Everything's
different
super
directions of
abbreviated,
YTF, do you know what I mean? And you're just like, what the fuck? But then if somebody heard us say, I don't know, rear deltoid, like literally like.
Yeah, but exactly when you say the exact same like level of depth of like biomechanics or biology, they look at you with a very vague and like confused look on your face, which is.
Do you know what the difference is? Is I'd say that like I'm more willing to learn it. They're not. Like literally, they're like, do you know what? Just tell me what to do. Thank you.
Like, yeah, but like sometimes I have conversations where like everyone's in finance, so they just assume that you speak the lingo. They're like sitting there trying to generate lots of alpha and just going on
Yeah, I
and on about
know.
all these things. It's just like really.
I know, and also you just have to
That's
pretend that you
very
know it.
Have
Just
you
pretend.
tried?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, like we asked quite switched on.
Oh
with
yeah, I
things like
did
that.
hear about that. Yeah.
But I mean, that's only because you were quite interested in it, not because I think like finance is the last thing that my brain has anything for. I'm so honestly, I need all the help I can get when it comes to. Like I'm good at earning money. do you know?
But that's the thing, though. They should. That's what they should teach you at
Well, economics,
at
obviously.
school, though. Instead of doing business studies or doing whatever. No, but that's slightly different because that is applicable. But you should.
Well,
learn
yeah,
how
because it's
to
a long-term
trade
investment, isn't it?
and commodities. Because there's a lot of maths and that, and then there's a lot of.
So is 2025
look at
your
all the
year of
charts,
setting
there's a lot
intentions of suddenly being some investment portfolio
a
or
lot of
something?
like technical elements.
Right. Like like I said to Mark
Ponzi
this
scheme.
morning, like somebody in Birmingham
Like
managed to scam thousands of people to Birmingham city centre, okay, for a fake fireworks display. There was no fireworks display, and they literally said that there was a whole fireworks display. And I just thought, fuck, that's so good though. Like honestly, what a good prank. Like that's so irritating. Can you imagine you're standing in this mass crowd?
yeah, I know.
I guess it's probably quite unsafe these days as well.
It's happened before. It's happened before. There was people that, whilst we were living in Zimbabwe, they sold out an
Oh
entire
God, how
venue
awful.
saying it was going to be Scooter. Remember the DJ Scooter? And they said it was going to be Scooter, and people, it was in the newspaper. People ate it hook, line, and sinker, and these guys ended up with hundreds
I mean,
of
like,
thousands
look, if
of
you're that
dollars a
smart,
gap,
then why not?
and
I
they
honestly
escaped
think, like, there's
jail.
sometimes I think, of course, there's people that should go into jail. Like, I
Yeah,
think people that have done
fantastic.
things maliciously should go into jail. But I also think some
Yeah,
people
fantastic.
deserve to be like hired, do you know what I mean, with the brain that they've got to get into a position. Like some people that are like really, really good at fraud or something. Yeah, like, or like, smuggling, not
Like
smuggling people, that sounds awful.
Catch Me If You
Smuggling, like,
Can
I
with
just think, like, it's
Leonardo
quite
DiCaprio.
fascinating when you watch all of these documentaries on, like, how, like, I know obviously they get arrested in the end, but, like, how they run all of these, like, cartels and, like, the drop sits and the whole, like, setup of it and the people you need and the trust you need. And it's
Yeah.
crazy, do you know what I
convict.
mean?
But there was a gentleman who was known as the world's best con man, and essentially he went around the world selling large landmarks to people for millions and millions of dollars and was never caught. So he sold the Eiffel Tower, and he sold the Statue of Liberty, and he sold all these elaborate things in a massive web.
But then we found out the other day that Kruger National Park is owned private. Part of it is owned privately, which I always thought we thought it wasn't actually private. I thought it was. Well, that was where we worked with private chefs in Cape Town when we were working there, and in fact I had like a chef actually when we first started doing recipe creation and stuff for the membership site that we first actually set up. I think it was like 2018 or 19. We actually launched a membership site. And I remember like we hired a chef to help us, like obviously just like photograph the food and like come up, help us with the recipe selection, photos and recipes and whatnot. But I remember she used to go to Limpopo, which we were just obviously, she used to effectively like go into one of those massive game drive places where you'd fly into the game drive. It was a private, and the owners would fly you in via helicopter, and then you'd obviously be in this massive game reserve. Do you know what I mean? That was entirely private, and then you'd have like this luxurious stay.
See,
like
if I had the money though, that's what I would have instead of like a massive yacht. Do you know
what
I
you'd have an
mean?
actual game reserve. Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
But then, but only if it was like really well. That
Of
was
course it
really
would
good
be.
conservation. That is the word, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously the people that own these massive concessions and hunting facilities and game drive facilities, they're always very well maintained and generally employ a lot of the local population and also give back a lot in terms of conservation and sustainability of not only the ecosystem, because they maintain the ecosystem to the highest standards, but then also the flora and the fauna, the availability of animals. It's a very mutual relationship where these people want to have elephants and the large variety of animals to see. So it kind of goes hand in hand, and
Yeah, well, I don't think we're ever going to own a game reserve unless, like, maybe something changes in 2025. On that note, do you know what I mean? Let's talk about changes quickly, because I think,
yeah,
obviously, as
let's
we
get
said,
into
like,
those.
let's get into it rather than game reserves, because we're living in fucking lottery land. Like, literally, like. But I think, obviously, as we said, like, January is one of those months where you've probably been riled up a little bit, maybe online or whatever, by people sort of getting you set up for the fact that you've actually got to do some shit in January to get somewhere.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of expectation, but I think that there is no sort of perfect time to get started, right, other than the present, sometimes it's very easy, to speak yourself out of doing things, and so on being honest with you, maybe New Year is actually quite good for that, because I think universally most people really do think, oh, fucking sort it out in January. I saw a very funny meme the other day. I sent it to Mark, which was just like, it just said, literally the words just read, oh God, people are circling back. And it was that whole thing of like, in December, people are like, oh yeah, we'll bring this, we'll deal with this, in January, you know what I mean? And then people are sending emails, already circling back to what they were discussing in December. And it's kind of very similar, like, if you've been thinking about actioning certain goals, and we're obviously talking mainly about health and fitness because that's our job at the end of the day, it can feel very daunting. And I think it's even more daunting in a world where, I'm a coach, and obviously maybe there is a somewhat tie in an algorithm somewhere for me to be advertised this to, but I have never seen so much medical weight loss intervention being like advertised at the moment. And unfortunately, fortunately, whatever, luckily, actually, I say fortunately, people are bringing it up to me, because then it gives me, the opportunity to be able to explain to them like what that really is and that process is, and like why they shouldn't really necessarily go down that route, or what other routes they could take, which would probably be slightly better. But I'm just seeing so many people reach for medical interventions with weight loss when they really don't even have like that much weight to lose, point one. Second of all, I have got more concerns over the fact that, drugs really should be like your last resort. And it pisses me off that we live in a day and age where, like, if you've got pretty okay health, that you actually feel the need to then just like jeopardize that all the time. And I think, if you're sat there with no health issues, like, you should actually be like really fucking happy. There's a lot of people that don't, have like the opportunity that you might have. And I think when it comes to, the need for medical stuff, like I've always said, I think there's definite place for medical weight loss drugs in clinical obesity, in that real 1% to 2% of people. But I also don't think people are looking at the side effects of this, and I don't think it has that longevity yet, and I don't think we've got the research to say that actually, like, whether or not this is actually a good idea. So I know that, like, and the only reason I bring up this is because, at the end of last year, I took on a couple of clients who both were like potentially going to go into Ozempic route, and probably have about 15 kilos or so to lose, plus or minus. And I just turned around to them. I was like, look, like, I don't normally bring, I think my personal experience it definitely weighs into my professional job in every way, because that's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I think, sometimes putting into context that, like, I literally lost like 65 kilos of body weight, entirely just out of like consistency, hard work. There's definitely ups and downs in that, no questions like asked, like definitely. And I'm always very open and honest to say that. But to sit in a position where, like, obviously I'm not like that now, and I've worked really hard to be in the position I am in, it does affect me when people have like 15 kilos to lose and the first route is, do you know what? I just think I need some assistance here, because honestly,
it's just the easiest route.
It's the easiest route. I get it, but it's not the easiest route, because the side effects that it does to your health, that's not an easy route, like, to go down. And
then the question is do the side effects, or does the application of the treatment outweigh the positive benefits of those individuals losing that 15 kilos?
Well, we know, and we were saying this the other day, because we obviously run an online part of our business is obviously an online coaching business, and we were discussing this the other day, that most people, no matter whether or not we can preach to the pigs fly, do you know what I mean? That, the scale weight doesn't, don't get dictated by the scale weight, don't get, upset by the scale weight, all of these things. It's just natural human instinct to be fucking annoyed when the scale is heavier, or to be frustrated. And I think, there is that emotion, maybe that short term, where you're losing quite a lot of weight and, you're feeling quite good about yourself because for once in your life you're seeing this progress. But I also see that I, for example, who was somebody that didn't use medical interventions for weight loss, had to still go through that really hard mental process of like self-reflection, not repeating the habits that I used to do, like all of these different things. And if I think about like the fact that sometimes I actually wasn't in that good a position, even though I'd lost quite a lot of weight, I still, my mindset was still like, you're like a size 18, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not somebody that's like the person that you are now. And I worry where like, yeah, there's that whole instant, oh, look, I'm seeing progress, this is amazing. And then when that starts to slow down, you know what I mean? Or you're not seeing that, like, you're literally attaching your whole worth of your whole journey, your whole physical self to effectively a metric, like what you weigh. And I think that in a process where you need to lose weight, that's quite literally the worst thing you can do, because I've helped so many clients through this where like, if you like, you can be, like I always say, you can be physically smaller but not all mentally happier. And I think, you know, when it comes to weight loss, like you were saying, like, you know, yeah, would people be happier if they started injecting themselves with something or taking something and losing 15 kilos? Yeah, probably. But at what point are you then going to say enough is enough, you know?
Let me be the devil's advocate here. Okay, so we're gonna play a scenario. So I'm a doctor.
Oh my God.
Who has has the understanding that has been provided to them by the tertiary education that they've been supplied. You know, we'll make a generalization that let's say they're not the most physically active, or you know, they haven't got the best body compositions themselves, so that we can just draw a logical conclusion that they would have a limited understanding on exercise, biomechanics, nutrition, so on and so forth, which, having dealt with a lot of doctors and people that work for the NHS, where most people draw their information, can tell you a first-hand experience that their overall understanding on the, you know, the metabolic inputs and outputs that underpin people's actual health is very, very limited. So that person is already going in with a very naive kind of viewpoint, where they then see this intervention that they then provide to the individual as a way to lose weight, because again, they're not exactly sat there thinking, oh, well, this person's body composition's going to adjust in a negative manner, because they don't know that that's going to be the case. They just don't necessarily, they just see it as, you know, scale weight go down equals positive
BMI,
results. So
BMI equals positive,
exactly.
yeah.
So
but,
then
but,
how do you that, like, of course the narrative is,
look,
then
there's
going
this
to be
whole
driven
cycle where
towards,
like you can play devil's advocate all the time. Like, for example, what if you haven't you've done no exercise really the whole of your life, or you've been very, very like not very active, you've not done anything, and then suddenly you also maybe like 22 stone, do you know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden, and you know, because you don't really move that much, and because you're also very overweight, you then start to have like knee problems or hip problems or feet problems or whatever it is. Okay, I can see how the only way that those people are actually going to, because unless those people, for example, eat a very low calorie diet, which again has its drawbacks. Like, I'm not saying that that isn't a massive drawback, is a, you know, severely low calorie diet, because they can't move adequately, and there's no necessarily like as a trainer and as a coach and also as a nutrition, like there's no resolving that if somebody can't move. Like, if they're also, you know, very overweight and also have joint problems, you're not going to miraculously get them to be doing 10,000 steps per day or into at all. You might be lucky if you can get them up from the, you know, the settee or the fucking sofa or from their office chair or whatever it is. So then I can see that, okay, well, is this the only option for somebody that's got themselves into this kind of rut? You know, perhaps, you know, because otherwise you're going to have to sit there. And yes, of course, the whole thing with weight loss is, yes, you can lose weight by increasing your energy expenditure, but the most likelihood is it's what you're eating most of the time, or how much calories you're consuming. And also coming on to that, so many people like say, I don't eat that much. Like, for once in your life, look at what you are eating, because
Yeah.
actually you can have something that looks so small but it's so calorie dense,
Mm.
and these things are not going to necessarily help you, you know, feel like, one, you're satiated and satisfied. Anyway, moving on from that, is the fact that if somebody can't move, like the biggest dictator is, okay, well, what do you eat then? And it's like, well, you're going to have to be eating a lot less if you don't then have any movement during the day. And that is unsustainable for somebody that might be morbidly obese, is then putting them
Yeah.
on 1,200 calories because they don't move at all. They've got no relative muscle mass as such because they necessarily exercise.
Yeah.
And then their metabolic health is obviously not going to be put in a very positive position.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that actually if you put Simon with a knee problem who's overweight, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean, on a calorie, you know, restricted diet of some degree, that he probably wouldn't see significant change. And I think
Yeah.
that's one thing, is
But the
people are not
thing is,
willing to
people
try.
struggle though with going on diets. So then they know that if they just get the injection then make sure that they have no desire
Higher
to
to
eat
eat, yes.
whatsoever. The weight comes off. It's no longer a stress because they no longer think of food. They're no longer hungry. They have no desire to eat. So that whole mindset and mind
I just
shift
don't believe this though.
completely
I feel like,
changes
yes,
for that
they,
individual
for
who
that
then,
period of
because
time.
you know, if you say, right, Simon, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to put you at this amount of calories, and you need to make sure that you, and you know that you. Listen, let's be honest with each other. The vast majority of that goes in one ear and out the other. Do you know what I mean? Unless the person's really
But then
willing
why are
to
we
want to,
breeding? Like, we've got, okay, so
like.
how much of the population is then, okay, has this weight issue? So say, for example, the UK
But there's,
government
like you
brings in
said, because
Ozempic.
it's so prevalent now, and like obesity is now so normalized and accepted that it's okay to be overweight now. Do you know what I
No, no,
mean?
no, I
Like,
don't agree with that, because the UK government's doing all it's right to try and get, so they think this way of getting people who are unemployed or employed back into work is because they're overweight with joint problems, which is actually statistically fucking true. You know, like, that is the case. But what I don't understand is, I can't see that if you don't continue taking this drug, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
That you, say for example, you're morbidly obese. Take the top of the top, okay? That, okay, I've always understood that you, like I said, you can't just get somebody moving. You can't just expect their brain to stop. You know, their environment's
yeah.
probably
The
a massive
environment is the
issue.
huge
Like,
problem.
yeah, a huge issue. But take somebody of like mid range who's got some weight to lose. Like, why are we breeding people that just physically can't look after themselves?
I
Like,
think it's
because
because we've had a generation of participation medals where everyone's told that just showing up is okay. Yeah, you know, as long as you turn up and try your best, and like, do you know what I mean? Sometimes it's not. It breeds mediocrity in a society that doesn't necessarily champion people. You know, trying exceptional things or being, you know, having some form of self-discipline or self-respect for yourself to address certain ailments and you know, self-destructing, self-degradating
I mean, but
habits
there's got
that.
to be such a responsibility on a number of different things. Like I've always said, food marketing, food placement, food availability is a thing that we can't avoid, and I think that's something that we're always going to have availability to. But also, like, when I speak to medical professionals' take on something like Ozempic, they're saying that Ozempic is that kind of way of saying, well, it's fine that somebody gets 3,000 steps in per day. It doesn't really fucking matter. But yet we know that the, you know, mortality rates, you know, of individuals
Yeah,
increase significantly when you don't get regular movement in on a day-to-day basis.
yeah.
So it's like this cycle where I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
well,
but the
you
thing
can
is,
put
you
a
can't
plaster over.
monetize that. You can't.
I'm
A
not saying that
person
farmers never going to
a
monetize it, but it's
person that can
taking
then
the.
administer the Ozempic to you is obviously making a commission. Hence the reason why the people that create Ozempic and Wegovy is literally 90% of the GDP of the country of which it manufactures. Like, like there are people that are pushing it on a massive scale because of the financial benefit.
Yeah, but we
And
know
obviously
this, but it's still not.
there
Who
are
gives a fuck about the financial benefits of pharma companies? What
no,
I'm
but
saying,
I'm
when
also but
when
there
people
are
are trying to
very
embark on a goal, do you know what I mean, or something, like it's all these things that make it much. It's like building a brick wall, you know. Like a few things moving on from this. I think a few things that people think they have to do. One, excessive amounts of cardiovascular work. Like I have seen people literally, and I've had people come up to me in the gym, okay, and they'll say to me, how do you get like where you are and whatever? And I'm always very straight to the point on how I am. I'm a product of what I love doing. I lift weights consistently. I, strive to be strong, and I look after all of my self-care habits, and I want to be like this. But I also say to them, they're literally on the cross trainer, do you know what I mean? For 6 days a week, 45 minutes, sweating away. And they say to, I can't, and I'll say to, that my body composition's not changing at all. And I'm like, yeah, you don't have to do that. Well, I won't burn any fat, and this is, how I burn fat, and and it's just like that's not how you do this. You know what I mean? We can't be looking at the gym, for example, as the only place that you see progress, because I think a lot of times people really rely on exercise as being, oh God, January 1st, right, that's it, I'm starting running, do you know what I mean? And I know how it goes, because I hate to be that really pessimistic person, but let's be honest. I've had so many clients do this, doing couch to 5K, that's it. I just really feel that, running's the one. They've been online too much and they see people running all over the place, okay. I'm going to start. And then I'm like, okay, they've done their couch to 5K, they've gone through it, and I'm like, well done, you've done it. And I said, when was the last time you went on a run? They were like, oh, the 5K when I achieved it. And I was like, okay, so you're not going to continue. It's like, no, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just not, I don't really like running. So one of these things where you start things and you just fucking hate it, or you don't have to start something you don't enjoy. And I always come back to strength training, lifting weights, because there's so many buy-ins to this. You don't have to be going in and being like world's strongest man in the sense of powerlifting. You don't have to be going in and doing what I would go and lift like as an advanced training person, you know what I mean? But you can go in and you could do some body weight movements which take your body through a range of movement that get you stronger in certain patterns of movement. You could bring in a couple of resistance bands. No, I'm not talking about like booty bands all over the place. What I'm talking about is like controlled movement with some resistance. You could take light dumbbells to get used to movements. You could then progress on those weights, you know what I mean? And that, in my eyes, brings such a better picture of progress, because unfortunately, when it comes to things like that are cardiovascular based, it's very daunting. Hence why people say, forget the fact that some people get runner's stomach because of what they've eaten. Do you know what I mean? No, it's true, because of digestion. If, say for example, you've had too much dietary fat and then you go on a run, do you know what I mean? That's an SOS moment, But they also say that runner's stomach can come from the nerves that you can get from anticipating this whole, like, oh my God, I've got to go on a run and I've got to achieve this. And what's really interesting is like a couple of my male clients, before they started training with me, they said to me, I'm always so used to going into the gym and doing like 5 sets barbell, you know what I mean? Like, 5 sets, it was three sets, 5 reps, deadlift, bench, you know what I mean? And then I'd just go home. And, not saying that that's a bad thing or whatever. But it's not exactly relative to, I guess, where things, you would normally say in the sense of intensity goes or whatever. And, they always used to say to me that when you get to a deadlift weight where it's like, I don't know, really heavy, or you got to your PB, it's so fatiguing to get there, first of all, on your whole nervous system of the body. It is really fatiguing. Deadlifting, that's why we keep it quite moderate, because if you're lifting huge amounts of weight in movements that are like compound movements like a deadlift, you are going to fatigue very quickly. So that needs to be moderated. If you're wanting to see progressive muscle growth, for example, you need to have adequate volume, adequate progression. And, they always used to say, like, I used to get so nervous going to the gym because when I couldn't lift what I had lifted that previous session, or I'd had a poor night's sleep, I just used to get really disheartened, and then I'd just stop going to the gym, And it's exactly the same thing. It's like, when we start the new year and we look at exercise, I think Mark would agree, like,
yeah.
Look,
yeah, I do.
Like, you should be doing stuff you really want to do. Don't get me wrong. we are like Tamagotchis. Like, you do need to move your body, you do need to feed yourself and fuel yourself right, and you do need to, in my opinion, everyone should be strength training, and strength training relative to their level.
For sure.
But I'm quite tired of seeing people do things for very short periods of time because they're doing it because somebody else enjoys it or somebody else has seen benefit, and they think that they're also going to see that immense amount of benefit from it, or they don't enjoy it and then they go into it and they get upset with themselves they can't be consistent with something, and the whole metric of exercise is based off of that one.
Yeah, I think it can be quite challenging when some people don't necessarily vibe with the strength and conditioning or the going into the weight room, and yeah, people still have a lot of gym anxiety, and they also like the social elements of classes or doing group competitive based things that have events, and has a little bit more camaraderie than the traditional, because I guess for some people would say that just going to the gym by yourself would be quite lonely. Would you not
Or
say?
you could actually dial into your brain. Like, sometimes it's actually like there are two or three different types of people in the world, in the sense of, like, you've got introverted, you've got extroverted, and then you just got like the sort of just like midline of people. Like, it's quite good. Say, for example, you're somebody that's quite extroverted. In this day and age, there's a lot of places you can go and exert yourself, you know what I mean? You can talk to people, you can be around
Yeah.
people, you can do everything. But actually, I think it's really important as humans that we're actually really okay with just being by ourselves. And I think, there is that thing of, like, of course, like when it comes to personal training, you're doing that because you need the accountability, you want somebody to help you, you want to be told what to do, all of that element of it. But in the sense of, like, understanding getting into exercise without a trainer, like, it's like totally good, really, really good to be okay with going in, putting your headphones in, having a little bit of time out in your head of
Yeah.
what life is, and
Yeah.
focusing on the structure of what training is. The problem is that I think where people struggle with this whole, like, oh, I mean, look, we could always go on for exercise for days, but I think, a lot of it does come down to what does somebody do outside of that. Like, the other issue with doing these, like I said, people beating themselves into the ground with cardio, and you've got weight to lose, is your hunger levels just all over the
Yeah.
place. Like, never ever forget that, yes, cardio does exert at the time more calories than strength training. Strength training will burn calories for the day, do you
For
know what I mean? For a
longer,
longer
yeah,
period of
but you also
time.
get the adaptive response of building muscle.
Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, like, so that level of
Exertion.
exertion, one, um, is quite a lot, right? For, so say for example, you go for a run, you do a 5k, 10k run. That level of intensity that you've just run at, you're then going to be likely really hungry, and I see this literally all the time. People are
Yeah.
like, I'm ravenous. Do you know what I mean? Like, I need to eat all the carbohydrates. I need to eat all of this, and of course, you should have, like, should be eating carbohydrates. I'm just saying, like, a lot of people then go and annihilate their diet, and they're running to lose weight but then can't moderate the diet because they're hungry due to the exercise expenditure they do. Like, it's exactly the same as just doing loads of hit burpees, ski erg, rowing, like,
Yeah, but
it's
everything in excess is going to be a problem. Like if you decided one day that you were gonna adopt, German volume training and go in every single day with 80% of your one rep max and do 10 sets of 10.
No, but you're not understanding what I'm
Do you know
saying.
what I
I'm
mean? You're
saying that,
gonna
like, if you go
feel
for a run, which most people
terrible.
do, like, most people
Yeah,
go
but
for a run,
it's also
and
the
you're
scalability because people want to go and run 5K straight out the gate, or they want to go and they do a couple 3 mile runs and then they go and run a large, massive one and then they blow their Achilles tendon.
Well, this is what I mean. There are those things because people won't do the foundation of strength training in order for them to not be
Yeah, but also
to
people are very
prevent
impatient
injuries.
and also very competitive and also X, Y, and Z to the point where, the idea of scaling something. That's why Couch to 5K is actually pretty good because it actually scales the volume and the fatigue
But I
of the
disagree with this because
movement.
it's great. Yeah, cool. Cool, you've done 3 months of Couch to 5K. Not one person I have worked with who has done Couch to 5K is still running. One of my clients moved a fucking treadmill into her gym at home and she hasn't used it once. She went on that last 5K
But we all
run.
get influenced. It's like buying a let's say you buy a piece of kitchen equipment or a fucking air fryer, and you buy it because you've been influenced to buy it, and then you end up you don't use it as much.
But then I was also saying that, like I do the assault bike a couple of times a week, but the way that I train, the intensity I train at with strength training, like it's actually sometimes counterproductive, like literally, like because I get so much like just fucking build up in my legs of just and it's just like it's actually counterproductive because I've already had an immense amount of weight
It's too
put
much
through
fatigue.
that. It's just too much fatigue on the body. So yeah, I just think when it comes to like making change, when it comes to the new year and everything like that, when it comes to exercise, just like
It's about pacing yourself.
pace yourself. Jesus, where have we got to go? Like, this is why I don't like New Year because everything's exactly the same as it was yesterday. Like, literally, like it's exactly the same. And if we don't change anything in our lives, nothing changes. We all know that. Like, nothing changes if
Yeah.
nothing changes.
I think
So,
it's just everyone really does find it very difficult to grasp and juggle, every aspect of life. That, because again, no other part of human history has gone
yeah,
through what we're currently going through,
totally
and that
agree.
could be the expectations of, um, you know, the older generation that has got children like roughly our age, where they're still they I feel like the older generation have a lot of worry and angst towards the younger generation, like how are we going to get on, do you know what I mean, and so on and so forth, and it's just there's so much, you
I
know.
mean, like I think this the older generation like are completely disassociated in a lot of things. Like I have to say that like even though they had it certain ways, okay, when we've all had
No,
things
they had it
certain
good though.
ways,
They had it good
they
though.
had it fucking great.
Oh,
Like
bless
literally,
them.
but then again, like I
They worked hard,
they
but
worked fucking
rightfully so.
hard, and they also didn't have a
They've also
chance.
had such a quadrupling of their net wealth through obtaining assets at a very very logical price to wage
Yeah,
relationship.
but there's also this element where they worked really hard. They did like, okay, right, this is going to sound, maybe you take it out of context, maybe you don't. But at the moment, people can just moan about fucking everything. You can say what you think all the time. And I'm not saying freedom of speech is not great. We absolutely should have that. But it's also too much. Do you know what I mean? Like, we just don't need to give a fuck about the amount of things that people say or information that's shared and all of this nonsense that comes with it. And I think, the older generation didn't have the ability that when they were on their period and in a bad fucking mood that they could share a meme about it. No, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got fucking on it. When you'd been, I have clients who have been in like finance industry for, 30 years, say, and like those are women, okay, who are senior finance, and they had to go through the most horrific,
Yeah.
like, totally working on a financial trading floor as a woman, do you know what I mean, 20 years ago, upwards of it, you would be
Under pressure.
battered in the sense of
Yeah.
not physically, that sounds awful, but in the sense of, insults or, people making sexual remarks. And they had no choice if they didn't want to pave the way and get where they wanted to fucking be, but to get on with it. And I'm not saying that behaviour is correct, but I do think we've now got a platform to just share our opinion on everything, and I don't think it's healthy. So actually, when I look at where we
Yeah,
are
but I
now,
think
cost
that's
of
why
living is
most
shit,
people are
okay.
struggling. Like even if people, and we associate ourselves with people that are very, very affluent due to the jobs that but
Yeah.
they've all got their own problems. You know what I mean? It's not like people haven't got their problems. Whether they're financially secure,
There is a lot,
there
yeah.
are issues that they worry about on a day-to-day basis that are,
No, but what I'm
fairly
saying is the older
substantial.
generation, like when we look at like, oh, do we have it? Did they have it better then? Yeah, of course. But when we look at finance, yes, do you know what I mean? There is no like, and every like when we look at financial wealth, they had it absolutely better then. However, I think that the ability of us being able to stop start as humans now, do you know what I mean, has bred this thing where, oh, we're so worse off, we can just sit and just fucking just not do anything about it. Or, oh, I just want to get paid loads more at
No,
like
I
age
think they're
24. It's
very.
like,
I
get a
think
grip.
they.
Like, nobody does that. Like, it's not actually reality. So we live in a false reality because all these people, oh, I bought a home at 22. I've got my first Rolex. I'm driving a fucking new car. We've got the ability of finance through our ears in this day and age, whether or not you utilize it or not. I'm not saying that credit is bad. I'm saying like finance and so we live in this reality where it's at this age you should have that, at that age you should do this, and at this but we still have the imprinted old generation, which is right. Okay, so when you're 20, you'll be at university, you come out of university, you're going to get a
Get a
job, you're
good
going to
job.
meet your wife, do you know what I mean, or
Yeah.
your husband or your partner. You're going to get married, and then you're going to have a child, and then
Yes.
you're going to have maternity. You go back to the corporate world, and that is not the case. So we've got this collision, in my
Yeah,
opinion,
that's a
of
collision.
what social is now, do you know what I mean, or what the society is telling you to do now, combined with the older generation, and
Struggle.
it's a struggle, yeah,
It's a
because you've
struggle.
got this thing of like, oh, actually, wasn't I meant to be, having a baby? Like, oh, Mark, we've been married nearly 7 years. Like, am I not meant to have popped one out yet? Like,
Hopefully not.
like one of your clients said to me the other day, like, where is this clock that's ticking? And I was like, look, I'm so with you on that. Like, I don't feel it at all. But it is this thing where you're like, is that what people expect? Like, in certain societies where yes, and if you haven't done that, have you succeeded? So there's just a lot of
There's like
elements
some
where
people living the traditional like lifestyle where you do exactly that. You do uni, you get the job, you have the wife, you have the two kids, you have the dog, you settle into your career, and then
yeah, at
there's
42 you should be at the
yeah, but
prime. Do
then
you know what I
there's
mean? You
also
should be.
certain
It's like
expectations of very let's say for example, the London lifestyle where the workload's so demanding. Lots of people are struggling in their 30s and 40s to find meaningful relationships and partners and get married and have children and so on and so forth because they're very career
because
driven.
we've lived in a highlight of fucking I actually think that of course dating apps have brought us all together, but it's fucking weird.
Like the
I'm not saying it
idea
hasn't
of like
helped with a lot of people. Like, we matched on Tinder before we even met, and our conversation, I don't know if I said that,
was honest.
was so honest that I said, oh, what do you like doing on a day-to-day basis? And Mark said, not much, I work and I watch TV and go to sleep. And I thought, great, okay, well, at least you don't drink alcohol and go out with the boys all the time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, literally, like, at least you got good work ethic, tick. Do you know what I mean? At least you're rested and recovered. Of course, otherwise no muscle growth. Bad,
No,
bad.
no big boy.
No big boy. No big boy. But
But
I
like
mean,
the idea of being a modern woman would genuinely be, and I'm not trying to say this in a facetious way, but like, hi, please can you excel in your job so that you're very successful, you make lots of money, because now the expectations are you bring 50% to
and
the
you're a boss,
table.
babe.
Yeah, you're a boss bitch. No longer, you want to be treated exactly the same as everybody else, which is understandable. But that then means like, minimal maternity leave in certain parts of the world where you literally like you pop your baby out and then you're expected to get back to work and then navigate that plus motherhood plus
Hormones. Let's not forget, motherhood's one
hormones
thing,
plus
hormones is another. Personal, that whole process with women, like, we do help a lot of clients, go through because a lot of our clients we've worked with for years, and I think you go through all these phases with people, of having, and I think it's the expectations, like, you're right, like with women, is just it is extreme sometimes. Plus, also the fact that you just have to pull yourself fucking together when your period arrives, or you know you're going through menopause, and you just can't rage, cry. Do you know what I mean? Do all the things unless it's inside of yourself. Do you know what I mean? And you've still got to bring the 100% capacity. You know, and it feels really disheartening. Like the only thing that my period affects me with is one, my mood. Do you know what I mean? I would say does. Mark's like, yeah, I'll stay silent on that.
Never have noticed, Georgia.
I'm a ratty as fuck around my period.
Really?
I'm very productive, do you know what I mean? Incredibly productive, but I am ratty, and I really don't want anything to do with anybody like you, Mark. Like, no,
Never have noticed, honestly.
like I'm just okay with just getting on with my shit, and then just you know, but I'm still, when you go to work, when you've got a demanding, like quite a busy, like active job, which I do, you know, it's exhausting. Like literally you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you go out to, you know, you're training in London, you're training people back to back, you know, you're not just standing there, like, you know, you're doing over this, you're doing that, you're talking, every single hour is conversation, every single hour is moving shit around, picking shit up, doing things. I fucking love it, but when it comes to my period, I feel 40% less capable. Like, no, actually that's a lie, because I'm coming to the end of my period right now, and like training is on I haven't been affected this time on training, in the sense of the fact that like I got joint pain on my knees currently, not on my what the fuck. What, are you laughing at the fact that you're weaker than me, or are you laughing about the fact that I literally have seen progress in all my lifts this week? I didn't realise you even fucking knew.
Oh, there we go. That's where we're originating the... You mean to be decreasing your training?
Let me just put it into context. Right now, I've got a bit of feedback by my VMO, which is at the bottom of my quad, okay? I've got a bit of feedback there when I bend down. And it's because I've trained at such high intensity, Mark, with shit tons of fucking weight, do you know what I mean? With perfect fucking technique. And I've done it consistently, okay? And I'm on my feet while I do thousands of steps walking around London, where you fucking stay in one location. So we'll just say... And that's why I've got a bit of feedback, and I need a fucking massage, which you haven't provided me with. There we go.
That's a lie. Second of all...
Mic drop.
Second of all, right, the word of today is periodization, Georgia. You know, you should deload and not consistently train.
That's a fucking load of bullshit. That's so bullshit, because it's not like I haven't deloaded, but I've actually seen an immense amount...
You need to go and rewrite the textbooks.
No, you're talking shit, because you know what? We don't even train together. And unfortunately, the last fucking week of our lives, we've had to be next to each other all the time again. And now we've had to train, and you've really fucked my whole routine up, to be quite honest with you. Now I'm annoyed. And now I'm on my period, and you can see how ratty I get. Do you know what I mean? Like, literally, like... No, but
I spot you and push you and make you do more reps. What are you talking about? Why are you laughing?
Mark... If you could lift what I lifted on like a single leg, maybe you would be able to spot me.
If you could lift as much as I could lift on a single leg exercise on a certain specific range of motion, then it's like you sound like a drug advert.
Oh, no, I'm just proving a fucking point, because you're now getting an ego out because you don't... Like, let's be honest. Like, let's take today's session, okay?
Be honest.
One exercise did you lift heavier on me? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because...
And you're also 40 kilos heavier than me. You're 40 kilos heavier than me. No, I'm going to get ratty now, because this is when the rattiness is in the sewers.
What exercise I lifted more than you?
A shoulder press.
Yeah, and?
Nothing.
What else did we do?
Yeah, you can't even remember, because that's it. Because he doesn't realise his periodization.
I lifted more than you on hamstring curl.
No, that's a lie. I still did the first 2 sets at your way.
I did what, at 68?
No, you started at 41. 41. Oh my God, that don't even lie. I literally don't even lie. Don't even lie. Well, it's not my fault you're in an anterior pelvic tilt, is it?
I put it down for you because I'm a gentleman.
No. Let me just point it out. You've got such a severe anterior pelvic tilt that's the reason why your bum's in the fucking air as you do a hamstring curl. Do you know what? It's really hard when you do everything perfectly, Mark.
Why?
Training. You can't belittle me when it comes to training. There's just not... You can't.
I'm not trying to belittle
No, you are trying to belittle me. You can't, because it's my biggest, strongest...
consistently, and sometimes
I'm fucking fine.
you just need to reduce your working volume and you'll be fine.
But you don't train with me, Mark, so you wouldn't know my working volume.
But I know you.
No, you
I
don't
know
know me
you.
now. I've
I
decided
know
you
you.
don't know me.
I know you.
Nobody knows me now.
I know
No.
you
No.
better than you know yourself.
No, I can disappear very quickly. All I'm saying is just don't get annoyed, okay? Don't get
I'm
annoyed.
not getting annoyed.
You
I would
are.
never
You
be
said
annoyed.
the other day that you wanted arms like me. Do you think that comes with this pathetic volume? Do you know what I mean?
No, that comes from genetics. You can.
Oh my
thank
God, so
your-
you're literally going to put my whole ethic
No,
on
no, I'm not
genetics?
saying-
Well,
I
I was
said-
genetically morbidly obese then. What other person in
were
my family has
genetically
been
morbidly
Well, then you just said I was
obese.
genetically muscular with my arms.
No, you genetically have the best bicep attachments and muscle attachments, and you are only born with that. And yes, you've worked incredibly hard.
Or
to
I could have just
accentuate
worked-
that, but you know, it's you can't change the fact that your attachments are the way
I think
that
that's
they are.
absolute. I think, yeah, I've got a longer bicep capacity to effectively load more through my bicep because of my attachment.
But the way your biceps look as well. It's
Because
not-
I literally train them and lift
Yeah.
more weight than what most
which
people would.
accentuates your genetic potentiality.
All I'm saying is that you can't put somebody's progress based entirely on genetics,
No,
because
not
that's
to-
like
I'm not
me
didn't
saying
say
that my
I'm
genetics
just
put me
saying
at
that
morbidly
the
obese.
reason why I want your arms is because you have abnormally large bicep attachments, and I want that too.
Well, I also have quite well-defined shoulders, Mark, and maybe if
do
you did the
indeed.
volume and periodization that I did, you'd also achieve the same. There we go. Ratty over. Ratty over now.
Yeah, that's fine, George. I'll allow you to.
Well, you just
express
fucking,
yourself.
you've said I'm expressing myself.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm
look-
just saying, I'm not the one who's crippled with knee pain.
Oh, that's such. Oh my God! Right, we're gonna go. Who's the one? Okay, should we talk about when Mark severely fucking blew his calf the other day? Do you know what I mean? Should we talk about this? That you've got one calf smaller than the other because your genetics are really quite shit, aren't
Well,
they,
that's
Mark?
the
Because you've got
same
no
as my
genetic
dad.
potential on your calves,
That's the same
no?
as my dad.
Oh, okay. Now you're bringing in your father. Don't try and bring in.
He's got the
Don't
same
bring in
thing.
allies here, because if we're going to
He's
bring.
got the same thing, and my grandfather had
Oh my God! Here we go. You
Come on,
sound
like,
like
at least. What?
you get so defensive.
I'm not.
Because you just said I had severe, which I don't
I'm
have,
not.
like in any way, shape, or
What
form.
are you talking about?
I don't have knee pain.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I misspeak?
I need somebody to massage my quads. That's what I need. I don't
would-
have knee
I've been
pain.
massaging your quads and your
You're not going to
calves.
touch me.
Yeah, but this is what, you know,
Yeah.
almost daily for at least 20 to 40 minutes you get massaged.
That's such bullshit. Because you don't understand what like time is, Mark. 25 minutes you've massaged me.
I have.
No, you haven't. You said to me, let's get a massage table because then I can
Yeah.
massage you properly.
Yeah.
No, Mark. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you
but who's
literally, it's about
offering?
10 minutes.
Who out of you do you know who does their husband offers to just to massage you willingly for an hour?
Okay, I actually know that one of our clients does this for his wife. I know Raj will listen to this. Raj actually does that for Druti.
Oh, big up, Raj.
Yeah,
Raj is
exactly.
a
So
legend.
don't speak about yourself like your kind green eyes
Yeah,
are
but-
fucking the only, the
Yeah,
thing. That,
but again, that's you only know one person out of 3.5 billion people.
well, like I don't want to necessarily touch. Like if you're oh like rub my feet or something like
I
like
want to rub
no.
your feet. Why would I rub your feet?
No, but you asked me to rub your like feet and
Yeah,
shit.
because my feet were sore.
Yeah, that's gross. Have you seen those little ankle socks on your feet? Like, you know, like you've wedged them into train. Like, like I don't want to touch your feet that have been wedged
Yeah,
into
but be a
socks all day.
professional though.
No, when it
If
comes
your
to my job, I'm
client
not
had
professional with you.
plantar fasciitis, you would massage
What are you-
their Burton's nerve.
Well, I
wouldn't
know
you?
Mark's got severe issues. Do you know what I mean? Obviously,
Yeah, I do
because-
have obviously an issue because I tore my calf, both calf muscles, and twice.
And, you know, when he ran up the hill, I said to him, oh, let's see. I wonder how hard it would be to run up that hill. We went on this walk in the valley, and it was this very, very steep hill. And Mark said, well, off you go then, like, you know. And I ran it up, and he said, oh, that was a bit slow. Watch how the pros do it. As he turned around and sprinted up the hill, he thought I threw something at his calf, because it literally does that. And then I had to get a log to try and foam roll your calf out, because I thought it was cramped. And then I had to what? I had to run through the forest where I got fucking lost. So I went on like a 6-mile run.
Oh my God, I went the whole way backwards.
Oh my God, you literally walked backwards the whole way at the bottom of the valley all the way home. It was such a nightmare.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So don't come
so
up with me your
painful.
fucking injuries, you know?
Yeah, but I just walked it off like a fucking man.
Like the same thing as we haven't done a podcast since Mark fell down the stairs.
Yeah, exactly. And I fucking brushed that
I
off.
was doing a side plank the other day, Mark, with your elbow tendonitis and falling down the stairs.
Oh my goodness.
Mark,
Yeah,
oh
but
no, it was
it's,
so
but
funny.
But that is a very good example
No,
of
just
why
don't
you
listen.
should strength train and have superior muscle mass and bone density, because literally bounced my skull off a flight of stairs, fell down the stairs, bruised my hip, potentially fractured my radius. My elbow was fucked. I can still hardly put any pressure on it. Definitely concussed. I can't remember half of the afternoon, sweating profusely, slurring my words.
But you know what, Mark? Okay, no, I need to tell
it
you.
off. Now look at your sister. Something fell on her head a year later. Oh, I've got a concussion.
Oh my
Do you
God,
know what I
don't
mean?
say that. That was not okay. But
Just
yeah,
walk
okay.
it off.
No,
And
but
that's why you need to be robust.
yeah, but Mark, let's go back to genetic potential. Not everybody can always sit at over 100 kilos of body mass. Do you know what I mean? With some muscle mass. Okay, given that the min. So, I'm gonna hold back to that. You're a
fine.
bitch. Yeah, literally.
Fine. The fact that
Oh,
you
I'm
said
sorry, but
some
you have-
it shows your
Genetic
weakness.
potential. Do you know what I mean? You've trained for relative, but Mark, no, it was quite funny because we came back from Abu Dhabi and we went away for
I
like
was
4
very
days.
smug,
And we
yeah.
were so smug because there was that one of those British storms, like Storm fucking Daz or something. Dara, I don't know. And we'd seen in the news, like, oh God, flights being cancelled, like so awful. We landed and it was like sunny in the UK and we like drove home or whatever. And we were like, oh God, I don't know what people are fucking complaining about. The next day, we obviously back in work and we got up like 3 a.m. It's like, it's raining, do you know what I mean? And we're like driving in, whatever. Park the car, and then I've never seen that much water just fall from the sky. I was wearing obviously leggings, white socks, okay, a gilet, like with a fucking hoodie on. And we had to walk. Obviously, Mark hadn't parked the fucking car in the right thing, so we had to walk maybe 15 minutes to where we needed to. I then get there, I'm soaking, and then I step directly into the most darkest, deepest puddle outside Victoria Station that's like, God really put the most amount of like crackhead piss all in it. Do you know what I mean? And my white socks turned like black. I'm in Victoria, it's like 4 a.m, 5 a.m, like literally. I go to the convenience store. I fucking go and get a packet of those shitty tissues and try and dry myself out in Victoria. Meanwhile, Mark goes into work and slips all the way down the fucking stairs. And you know what? He didn't even tell me, probably because he was so fucking concussed. And he came in, he was like, oh, I really fucked myself today. And I was like, what? He fell down the stairs. And like, he literally lifted his top up. I was like, oh, fuck. Like, literally, like. But you know what? There's one thing that I will say about Mark, and here's your compliment of today, because we'll start the new year on a high, not on ratty note. But Mark does, no matter what, just still go to work. Like, he had a motorbike accident and still was there for his fucking client. Like, I'm sorry, like, with ripped clothes, like, blood everywhere. Hey, I hope you're... Sometimes clients don't even fucking notice. Literally, you could be.
And that's the thing, is like some people, they care so much about what other people think. And I have literally been hit by a car.
Sorry. It's not funny, I'm so sadistic. I
And,
sound like Ricky
absolutely,
Gervais.
like fucked. Do you know what I mean? And the person had no clue.
Oh my God. Literally, like, and that's when you realise, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
and
just
you're
like, you live your own life, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, you always do. There's been so many occasions where things have happened and
you
you've
gotta
still
just
been
crack
there.
on, yeah.
Like, just sometimes with our jobs, we just fucking glaze over shit,
I
which just
remember just
picks
standing
up,
there,
look sharp.
like stretching Richard because he was the client that I was training whilst I was lying on the stairs. It's like, oh my god.
No, the worst thing is you slip downstairs. Oh my god, Mark, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm fine. I'm
He
absolutely
was
fine.
like, no, mate, you don't look okay. Like, no, I'm fine.
It's actually,
Absolutely
Richard, the only
fine.
reason I'm sweating is I ran here. Like, literally.
Yeah, and just stretching him and sweating all over him.
Oh, no, stop. Please pay me for the hour.
Oh my god.
The thing is, though, that is the amount of dedication we do actually have. Like, we have an immense, we have a very good work ethic when it comes to training. That's one thing that I always like.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh God. Anyway, I mean, we've gone around in a few circles today, having conversations about loads of random things. But no, I think it's good to get started the new year with a podcast. You know what I mean?
Good intentions. Set your intentions straight.
Yeah, and I think if you've got goals to reach, I mean,
the word of 2025 is structure. The more structure you have.
Yeah, and I was about to say that because we don't often speak about this, but we are really things are changing a little bit in the sense of just like how like coaching offerings, and how we're like kind of working in the next the next period or phase of our life, one could say. And we do actually have so. For those that are not really aware, maybe you listen to the podcast, you don't really actually know like what we actually do. We have like an in-person and we have an online business. So we obviously train people in person and we like nutritionally consult with people, and then we also do corporate wellness, that side, and then we also have an online coaching business, which is everything's homed under the Self-Care Academy for the online business, and same with obviously everything is Self-Care Academy. But we with our online business have always worked joint, like hand in hand. So when COVID hit, we had pretty much separate online businesses in London. Then we moved to Cape Town and we set up a business together, which was obviously joint. And I think since then we've always been working and coaching clients together, barring obviously personally training people, i.e. the fact training people in person. So I think, there's been a lot of years where that's worked really, really well, and it still does work very, very well. And we've still got a lot of clients that we both coach, together. But this new year, we're going to be taking the option of, you can have the option of working with us both, but we're also opening up the option to work with either Mark or either myself, so that under the academy, so that, some people, we absolutely appreciate, I don't know, like to work with, maybe some women like to work with just a woman. Some women don't really like working with a woman and like to work with a man, or some men prefer to go with the male, or sometimes men prefer to go with the female, So we just want to make sure that that's open for the online side of our business, which will be coming very soon, actually. So those are changes that will be happening, and it will be very, very clear the sort of offerings that we'll be having, because we will also be bringing in membership levels to the academy. So I think, to be really transparent, we've always, the online business was a very big focus of ours, huge focus of ours for many, many years. And, our business has also only ever started with in person, and we're finding the balance now. We want to be able to open up the doors to membership within the academy, which isn't just under one program. So, we will be having the bronze, silver and gold levels, so that you can join depending on what your goal is, in the sense of how much help you actually require. And, we will be showing a lot more in the sense of the developments of, what our clients really, in the sense of our app and how it functions and all these things that we've actually developed. We're not very good at showing so much about that, but we will be doing that, because I think, having said, Mark said, with structure, we do have we help people on a day-to-day basis with finding their self-care structure, from their training to what they need to eat to their self-care habits, and we have very, very good results with people and consistent retention. So if it is something that you're looking or interested in, then obviously please feel free to obviously reach out. If you need help with losing weight, we're obviously specialists on that side. And I would like to think we really do spend a lot of time nurturing the relationships with our clients, so it's something that it's not not just some generic program. You know, it's something that is a 360-degree approach to looking after your health and well-being, getting stronger, getting fitter, and as we like to say, lifting, eating, and succeeding.
Wow, that was...
Jesus, I sound like Stephen Bartlett on a Huel advert, don't I?
No, don't. Why'd you have to ruin it?
Because it was true. I know.
No,
I'm quite good at sort of highlighting what I do on a day-to-day basis when I'm speaking.
I'm so happy
it's
people have realised that he's such a scam.
Literally, like.
But yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but that was very powerful, and I do agree with you.
I also, you know, like I think it's really good. Like what we're thinking about with the podcast in the next few months or so is potentially starting to do slightly shorter snippets of things. Because there's a lot of topics and a lot of questions we get asked with our jobs, clients ask us, or things that are really actually quite good to speak about, which we can't always get down together and speak about all the time. So we're going to bring in something probably like memos, which is kind of like short snippets of us saying, like, you know, actually we were just answering a question for a client today and we think it's really relevant, we talk about this, and it'll be on topics to do with, you know, your self-care, your training, your food, topics that, you know, we help navigate with clients all the time, and I think it will just help those short sort of, so you don't have to listen to a, you know, very, very long podcast, but hopefully we'll be able to get more out for you to listen to, because as I said, like, it has been quite taxing getting us to sit down together and get a podcast done, and we love our podcast. We really have tried a lot to develop it, so we do want to make sure that
we want to be consistent.
We say that. No, Mark, you sound like that sounds so repetitive. You said that so many fucking times. Do you know what I mean? It's not that we're not consistent with it. We've got hours of us talking. I don't think you're going to miss us too much, but we just want to be able to help a little bit more on certain elements, and this is a very good way for us to be able to talk about things without sort of shoving a camera in my face, which, like, is just like the last thing that I want to do. Anyway,
why? I think you're really natural behind the camera, and I really enjoy all the video content.
Oh, is this you being nice to me?
I'm always nice to you.
Okay, well, my knee pain says differently.
You do you know why it hurts? Because it's true.
It's not fucking true, because it's not my knee.
It hurts.
If you knew anything about rehabilitation, Mr. Head of Rehabilitation.
Do you know what my father used to say, John Richard used to say? If the shoe fits,
it fits.
Wear it.
Oh. Well, on that note, thanks Richard Garlick and Mark for that motivational quote. If you've got goals to reach, put yourself first. Realise one thing, you're going to have to sacrifice some shit.
You're going to have to.
You're going to have to sacrifice something, like, somewhere for a period of time.
Like, when we grew up, you were told what to do and how to do it. And when we become adults, you can't just, dismiss yourself from responsibilities in life and just live a life of just fuck it. The same, I think, and that whole fuck it mentality it's very liberating in a very, very short period of time, but it
will slowly eat away at you.
Erodes your self gratitude towards yourself.
Yeah, and so, you know, if anything, just understand, you know, if you want to get anywhere, and this comes from somebody that's done it, do you know what I mean? You sometimes have to take yourself out of your environment, you have to take yourself out of your comfort zone, that's a big one, take yourself out of your comfort zone, and you have to be prepared to sacrifice some things, not always for everything, you know what I mean, but be prepared for a period of time that you need to knuckle down and get shit going, because unfortunately we can't always merge into the current lifestyle that might not be suiting you, you know? Always remember that if you're ever reaching out for, like, assistance on things or help with things, or you want a coach, you want a trainer or whatever, just make sure that you're open and willing not to do something ridiculous, but be open-minded in making certain that the choices that you're making right now are clearly not helping you in where you want to be, and the people that you've hired to help you are there to get you to that goal. So try and be open with the approaches that people do and help, you know, and remember that, you know, that at the end of the day, we're not here to make the goalpost further away, we're here to actually help you reach
get you across the finish line.
Exactly. Anyway,
precisely.
Ta-ta, everyone. Have a great year. We can't see you next year probably if we're not consistent. Anyway, no. Okay, bye.